guy dressed as a giant otter. And they're all freaked out, and all the cops are all freaked out and everything, and there's their protesters, they're all freaked out by us. Well, we roll in, we had a meeting with them, and we met with the CEO. And I told that guy, I said, she introduced me. I'm actually an economist by training. I spent a lot of time in school, maybe, I don't know too much, but a lot of time in school. I said, your problem on Ottawa Power is that you can't sell coal plant in a carbon challenged world. You got a sweet wind regime. You should have wind power, not coal. Much better idea. And they look at me and they're looking at me like I'm a little crazy. I said, it's gonna be more and more expensive to have coal. You should just do the right thing. It's kind of like kissing babies, I tell them. Buy some wind from the Indians, we all be happy, be good. They look at me and they say, no, we've been working on this plan for 12 years. I said, that's your problem. You have a 12-year-old plan. That's before any of the data on climate change came in. I said, your plan is outdated. And you know what? It was about a month later, they canceled the project. Is that great or what? Now, it wasn't because of me. We was just like probably the last straw on them. But so why am I telling you this story? Is that it's not rocket science. It's persistence. And when we are making this right way to live, this Pono or righteous way, you also got to keep fighting those guys. Because they will continue with their really, 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 really bad ideas so long as no one challenges them, right? They're like, they need to be challenged. So I tell you a little bit about what I do. I have the great privilege, I live and work on my reservation in my community in northern Minnesota. And then I work nationally, and I wander around and I try to keep my carbon footprint kind of low. Doing the best I can on that one. But, and all I say is when I go someplace like here's far away, thank you for inviting me, but make sure my carbon footprint is worth it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I like to share everything I know best I can with people, but then on the other side of it is don't just forget, because maybe take something from there and it help you do something. Just don't ask me the same question in 2 years. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, how'd you do that thing with Ottertail? Pay attention the first time, don't be too high. Okay? So, anyway, in our case, on my reservation, I've been fighting these bad guys for most of my life, and I still do it. I'm fighting this coal plant, I'm fighting the tar sands. You guys know what the tar sands is? Single largest industrial project in the history of the world. I'm going to talk about that at the end because I got a couple things I want to talk to you about all that. So I fight these guys my whole life, but then at the same time, I work in this community that is my reservation, and we're in tough shape. But we are gold, because economically, and that other young woman that was up here taught you're right there, lady. Yeah. We're talking about our diabetes. About a third of our people have diabetes, got high arrest rates and, a lot of violence. Everything you don't want to have, we have. So no one would really bet on us, in our community. But this is what I think. I'm 50 years old, and I could spend my time complaining, or as my mother would say, kvetching, right? Kvetching is a really good word. Y'all know what kvetching means? Don't be all goy on me now. Kvetching is like complaining and whining about how things are not working out for you. You know what I'm saying? But that's really a waste of energy. Did you ever notice that? And have all that negative around you and say, we're getting screwed and we're getting screwed again, and look, they're screwing us again, and I just can't do anything. You just get an ulcer and feel miserable, for crying out loud. Right? So why do that? Why not try to do like this lady's here talking about? You do something, make a difference. So in our reservation, we start organizing there in 1980, which is probably before about half of you were born, right? How many of you were born since 1980? Just for my curiosity here. Well, this is a little bit older crowd. Okay, this one here, yeah. All right, so I've been organizing since before you were born, all right? Got that? All right, I'm still hanging in there. And seeing as I went to yoga with my mom yesterday in Ashland and got my ass kicked again, while my mom was over there contorting, I think I got another 28 years, judging by my mom's ability at yoga. Anyway, having said that, in our community, we had a lot of people fight for our rights. And so we started by fighting on our land rights. You know, when we fought, our land was taken illegally by this guy Weyerhaeuser right down the road there. That's how it started. That's where he started, in northern Minnesota. And he took our trees and left us stumps, pretty much, and built an empire. You know, these guys did not like spin straw into gold to get rich. It's really important that people don't think that they got rich by spinning straw into gold. They stole it from someone. That's how most of the rich got rich. Anyway, so our people got in a really tough shape, and we started trying to get back our land, and we did everything. You know, most of our land inside our reservation borders is held by non-Indians. Government agencies hold a third of it. You know, national parks, state parks, county land, you know, a lot of clear-cutting issues too there. And then a third is held by, a little bit more than a third is held by non-Indian landholders, a lot of them lakeshore owners. And then our tribe holds about 10%, and then probably another chunk of land, I haven't figured it out, is held by Indians in fee. I don't want to bore you with that, but we fought to get back our land, went all the way through the courts, and we did not win. You know, because the courts, that's why they call it the just us system. Have you ever figured that out? It's called the just us system. You know, because if you are as Frank Foolscrow always referred to it, he said it's the court of the thieves. Because if you are the guy who stole the land from the Indians and you are also the court, your chance at justice is about this big, right? Not to say we don't get some justice sometimes, but we decide instead we buy back our land, which some of you know this story. So we started buying back our land. We hold about 1,400 acres as an organization, as a land trust, right? It's not a lot, but it's more than we had. And on that, we decide that you could talk about what you're going to do, or you could just do it. And everybody who knows me knows that I'm mostly the latter. You know, I'm talking to you now, but people talk about talking about it. And that's a really useless venture at a certain point. And you know, I know a lot of you are into process. Good luck. I'm into it as well, but at a certain point, you just do it.
Love's an action word.
Okay, and I just say that because what happens is that in our community, people talked about what could be, or what we could do, or we could do this, we could do this. I said, let's just do it.
Get off your butt.
And then when you do it, it's kind of liberating. That's what I'm trying to say. So the first time we protected this one cemetery. It was an Indian cemetery, and this farmer was running his cows over it. And this old man said, Winona, can you help me fix this? And I said, what you want? He says, I want a fence around my parents' graves so that he doesn't run his cows on them. It's the same time, like about a month later, and said, Winona, we want to put a substation over here. We heard there's a grave site and some cemetery, and we want to make sure that we don't put it near. It's just, you know what a substation is, right? Where they just change the electrical part. I said, well, put it here, but, you know, this is what you should do, is you should put a fence around the cemetery. And so they put this really nicest of all split rail fence around this one old guy's cemetery, right? It says Kettle Family Cemetery. And it's the only one like that in our area. And it's these Medewin houses. And that old man thanked me, you know? He said, thank you for doing that. I said, well, the power company actually did it. I just gave him a hint, you know? But why am I telling you this? Because this guy come in my office one day, he says, Winona, how did you do that? That's what he said to me. I said, what do you mean? He says, how did you get that fence there? I said, well, he said, did the BIA tell you could do it? I said, no. He said, did the tribal council tell you you could do it? I said, no. He said, did the county commissioners tell you could do it? I said, no. He says, who told you could do it? I said, well, that old man asked me to do it, and I just did it. And he got this look on his face, like, wow, you could just do something without asking all those guys. You know, and you just do it, and you just did it. Okay, and I tell you that story because that was the beginning of my consciousness of how you help ripple change. Now, you got to be careful because we're all in different situations, right? So I cannot tell you for your specific jurisdiction. But what I tell you is that we start with that, and then we started fighting for our rice. And first we fought to get a fair price for our wild rice. We're called Native Harvest. And you guys go to your little hippie food co-ops and your food stores and your cool food stores and tell them to buy Native Harvest because it's two Indians with sticks in a canoe that harvest the darn wild rice. It's not some farmer with a rice paddy in Northern California, okay? I tell you this, so us guys, we are fighting because our families, we make a lot of our living off of ricing. And we're not rich people, but our rice the Creator gave us wild rice. And it's a part of our most sacred food, but it's also our major trade item. For years, with everybody, with the Lakotas and with the Cheyennes and with everybody want our rice. Because we are the only people, this is a good thing, the Creator gave us food that grows on the water. That's pretty cool, huh? It's a part of our migration store. We are instructed to go to the place where the food grows on the water. So we take our rice, we pray when we harvest it, we go out with our 2 sticks in a canoe, and we go out there and this wild rice making moon, and we bring that rice back in our canoes and we parch it, we dance on it, and then we winnow it, and then that's how you make the rice, yeah? So we do pretty good with like this for maybe 5, 6, 7,000 years. Not bad, right? Doing pretty good. Then some anthropologists came to see us. That's always a problem usually for Native people. The anthropologists come from the University of Minnesota, and they come out and they see the Ojibways out there with the rice, and they observe us. And they say, oh, these Indians, you know, they're dancing on their rice, and they're having a big feast, and they call it Ojibwe Mardi Gras. I said, it's like Christmas for them. I said, they're never going to learn to work hard. And this is not going to work out. They're never going to learn to work hard. And so they set it about the University of Minnesota to figure out how to domesticate wild rice. Took them 40 years, domesticate wild rice, grow it in diked rice paddies, chemicals, fertilizers, harvest with combine, and they called that progress. We thought that was a dumb idea. But that's where most of the wild rice is, including what they're selling in most of these stores out here, is that California paddy rice. We don't think they should be able to call it wild rice. We think they should have to call it tame rice. Because it doesn't taste like a lake, right? And it doesn't come from us, you know. But anyway, so we battle them on that. And then now we control most of our rice crop up in our area because they were getting pounded on it. But then the next thing we have to battle is genetic engineering. And you guys all battle this too. But the University of Minnesota wants the right to genetically engineer wild rice. And we think that the words wild rice should not be associated with the words genetic engineering. We think that wild should mean something, like not genetically engineered. Kind of like the salmon thing. Should not be, it's wild. So we battle that. And so far, no genetically engineered rice. We did good on this so far. But I tell you this because that's what we do. And then now we grow a lot of our traditional varieties of food out. We're doing good on that. Mostly our old varieties of corn, beans, squash, tobacco. We grow those out of our area. And then hear about, we keep fighting these guys off, fought off a bunch of different bad clear cuts and things like that. And then here about 2 years ago, we put up a wind turbine. We put up one before, and it was small, like 20 kilowatt wind turbine, which power probably your extended farm buildings, I'm not sure. Yeah, me good.